At that moment, an unbelievable thought crossed Claire's mind. Could the Wade Doris mentioned be her husband, Charlie? But then she dismissed it, feeling it was too crazy to be true. How could it be? Charlie grew up in an orphanage. But besides Charlie, who else in the world would treat her so well? $30 million was a pipe dream, but they directly offered her $60 million. She couldn't help but ask Doris, Miss Young, may I ask, is your chairman's name Charlie? Doris sighed internally. The young boss had ordered her not to reveal his identity and had only permitted her to say his last name was Wade. If his wife guessed it, wouldn't she be in trouble? So she said quickly, Miss Clare, please don't ask any more questions. Our chairman comes from a very prominent Wade family in Eastcliff. His identity is highly confidential, and I don't have the right to disclose it. Claire nodded slowly. The mention of a prominent Wade family from Eastcliff brought her back down to earth. Charlie was an orphan. He couldn't possibly be from some famous family. It seemed she was just letting her imagination run wild. When she came out of Doris's office, Claire was still in a daze. In her hand, she held the $60 million cooperation agreement between the Wilson family and the Emgrand Group. It all felt like a dream. At the gate of the Emgrand Group, Claire saw Charlie and ran up to him excitedly. Charlie, I actually did it! Charlie smiled to himself. Of course you did. Your husband is the boss of the Emgrand Group. How could you possibly fail? However, he pretended to be surprised and said, You managed to land such a difficult project? Honey, you're truly amazing. Claire said, Oh, it wasn't because I'm amazing. It was simply a gift from the Emgrand Group. What? Charlie asked, feigning curiosity. Why do you say that? Claire was afraid that if she mentioned the chairman of the Emgrand Group, Charlie would get jealous, so she quickly said, Oh, it's a long story. Let's go to the company now and tell everyone the good news. Charlie laughed and said, Okay, this time that jerk Harold will have to honor our bet and do some serious bowing and scraping. Claire nodded. He's always so arrogant and looks down on everyone. He deserves to be taught a lesson. In reality, Claire had a temper of her own. She was sick and tired of people like Harold looking down on her and her husband. Now that she had secured the deal, she was ready to put them in their place. A little over 10 minutes later, the two of them arrived at the Wilson Group. In the meeting room, everyone in the Wilson family was looking at them strangely. They all knew Claire had gone to the Emgrand Group that morning, but none of them believed she could pull it off. They were all waiting to see her make a fool of herself. They were surprised to see her back so soon. When Claire and Charlie walked into the meeting room, they were met with a wave of sarcasm. Harold said smugly, Oh, Claire, you're back in just half an hour? Did you even make it past the front door of the Emgrand Group? His sister Wendy also sneered, Wow, Claire, you failed in less than an hour. You must have broken a record, right? Mrs. Wilson's expression darkened. The Emgrand Group project was admittedly a tough one. Even if Claire failed to close the deal, she should have at least been thorough, right? It made her furious that she would give up so quickly. So, Mrs. Wilson stared at her and said coldly, Claire, you have disappointed me greatly. Charlie frowned. This family was unbelievable. They didn't even bother to ask what happened. They just jumped straight to mocking her. Especially that jerk Harold. Who did he think he was? He would be doing some groveling later. Claire had been so excited, but now their words felt like a bucket of cold water. Anger flared in her heart. I'm sorry to disappoint you all, she said, her voice sharp. Doris Young from the Emgrand Group and I have already negotiated the project partnership. What? You closed the deal? Impossible! How is that possible? You couldn't even get in to see Doris. Everyone was stunned. Claire, Do you really think we're going to believe that? Harold recovered from his shock, slammed his hand on the table, and shouted angrily, "Doris Young is one of the top business minds in the city." Harold scoffed. "Why would she ever meet with you? Who do you even think you are?" Ignoring their doubts and accusations, Claire simply pulled out the contract and handed it to Mrs. Wilson. "This is the project contract from the Grand Group. Please take a look." The contract was like a bombshell, and the atmosphere in the room instantly exploded. Harold still refused to believe it. "This has to be a fake. It's a forged contract. There's no way she could land a deal with the Grand Group." "Exactly," Wendy chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. "How could she get a contract from the Grand Group? This is a $30 million project. If anyone was capable of getting it, it would have been me." Claire sneered. "You're wrong, cousin. This contract isn't for $30 million. It's for $60 million. "Yeah, right," Wendy scoffed. "A $60 million contract? Aren't you embarrassed even saying that? Do you think we're idiots? If you can sign for $60 million, then I can sign for $100 million. Harold added with a scowl. "Claire, you're playing grandma and the rest of us for fools." He then turned to Mrs. Wilson. "Grandma, this is a complete betrayal. You can't let her get away with this." Mrs. Wilson gritted her teeth in anger. She already thought the $30 million figure was nonsense. Now, after just half an hour, Claire had come back claiming she'd signed for $60 million? Was she trying to make a fool of her in front of everyone? Was her position as head of the family just for show? If she couldn't get rid of this shameless girl, how could she possibly maintain her authority? Furious, Mrs. Wilson slammed her hand on the table and shouted, "Claire, go to HR and file your resignation immediately." Claire was stunned. Were these people insane? She showed them the contract. How could they still not believe her? Just then, someone in the room suddenly yelled, "Holy crap! The Grand Group just released an official statement. The $60 million contract is real." That shout stunned everyone. Immediately, they all pulled out their phones and scrambled to check the Grand Group's official social media. It was real. The Grand Group's official account had just posted an update. The post announced that the $2 billion hotel project had signed its first partner. The group's vice chairman, Doris Young, and a representative from Oris Hill's Wilson family, Clare, had signed a $60 million decoration contract. Seeing the headline, everyone went crazy. Clare had actually landed the project, and the amount had doubled. It had only been a little over half an hour. How was that even possible? It made no sense. Harold was floored, and a wave of regret washed over him. Before today, Claire was nothing compared to him in terms of status or identity. If he had just accepted the task yesterday, whether he succeeded or not, he never would have given Claire this chance to steal the spotlight. But he had turned it down because he was afraid of failing. It wasn't just that he refused it. The worst part was that Claire actually did it. It was a total slap in the face. Mrs. Wilson immediately snatched up the contract, reading it carefully, and began to laugh with excitement. Amazing! Just amazing! Claire, you've done a wonderful thing for this family. After a moment, she asked, "How did you do it?" Claire replied, "It's all thanks to Miss Doris. She's very optimistic about our Wilson family." In truth, Claire wanted to tell them what really happened, but she didn't know who the chairman of the Grand Group was, and she figured no one would believe her anyway, so she dropped the idea. Hearing this, Harold felt even sicker to his stomach. He wished the ground would just swallow him whole. So that's why she got the contract. Doris Young actually thinks highly of the Wilson family. That means anyone could have gone. He'd really missed out. Just then, Charlie spoke up. "Harold, do you remember our little bet?" Harold's face twisted up like he'd just eaten something rotten. Of course he remembered the bet. If he lost, he'd have to get down on his knees and do some serious scraping in front of everyone. Clare had the contract, which meant he'd lost. No way! How could he get down on his knees for this piece of trash? Not a chance! So he gritted his teeth and shot back, "Charlie, who do you think you are? You're just a freeloader who lives in our house and eats our scraps. You really expect me to get on my knees for you?" Charlie replied calmly, "I am just a good-for-nothing. But we made an oath yesterday. If anyone backs out, may their father, mother, and grandparents all drop dead." Charlie deliberately put a heavy emphasis on the words, "grandparents all drop dead." Just as he intended, Mrs. Wilson's face instantly turned stone cold. She glared at Harold and asked in a chilling voice, "What was that? Are you wishing death on me?" Harold panicked. "Grandma, don't let Charlie trick you," he blurted out. "He's just trying to humiliate me and you." Charlie said calmly, "Harold, stop trying to fool Grandma. Don't forget, you're the one who made that sacred vow. If you back out now, you'll be cursed by God. Are you really going to curse your own grandmother?" Terrified, Harold blurted out, "Grandma, you can't be serious." Mrs. Wilson's face was like ice. "You know I am a devout Christian. You swore an oath before God. How dare you break your promise?" "Grandma," Harold pleaded, truly panicking now. He could see that she was furious. Mrs. Wilson saw that Harold was willing to break an oath tied to her very life and death, all just to protect his own pride. She slammed her hand on the table and shouted angrily, "Are you determined to go back on your word?" "Grandma, Harold froze, his mind racing. If he honored the bet and did his bowing and scraping to Charlie, he'd lose face completely. But if he broke his promise and angered his grandmother, he would lose everything he had in the Wilson family. Thinking of this, even though every fiber of his being was against it, he could only grit his teeth and say, "Okay, I'm willing to do it." Charlie looked at him with a smirk, saying nothing. He just waited for Harold to get on his knees. Harold felt like his legs were filled with lead as he slowly, painstakingly made his way over to Charlie. He was shaking with rage, his teeth clenched, but his legs gave out and he knelt on the ground with a thud. The others in the room quietly pulled out their phones. Harold lowered his head and said in a trembling voice, "I was wrong." After he finished, he bent forward and touched his head to the floor. Charlie said, "What was that? I didn't hear you. Speak up." Swallowing his humiliation, Harold bowed his head again. "I was wrong," Charlie sneered. "Oh, so you were wrong. What exactly were you wrong about?" The desire to kill Charlie was overwhelming, but he still had one more bow to make. So he just gritted his teeth and said, "I was wrong to doubt Clare's ability." After speaking, he bowed his head to the ground one last time. Charlie felt incredibly satisfied. He couldn't stand Harold, and he seized the opportunity to make him kneel and bow. It felt amazing. Clare watched all of this in astonishment, feeling as if her husband had suddenly become a completely different person. She couldn't quite put her finger on what it was, not right away, but thinking back to the bet her husband made with Harold yesterday, it seemed like he knew all along that he was going to win. Where did he get that kind of confidence?
To know more, listen to the audio series, Born to Rule, only on the Pocket FM app. Install the Pocket FM app now within 1 minute to download 10 free episodes before the offer disappears.